can you just tell me a little bit about Arbeiter Ring and sort of what the education was like for you there?
I don't remember if I went in Brooklyn or whether the 4 years was all on the Lower East Side of Manhattan. My teacher was Esther Feldman, who I'm told retired to Southern California, but I haven't been in touch with her. I remember a few things that stand out. One was that the parents of many of the other students had numbers on their arms from the concentration camps. I remember we had an event once a year in the local elementary school where we, the kids, sang Jewish songs, and the parents sat in the auditorium and cried because they were many. I don't know if they were Holocaust-related songs or whether our singing Yiddish reminded them of the horrible times during World War II. I remember learning Jewish history and getting European Jewish history and getting a general sense of which kings were good guys and which weren't. And then when I studied European history in high school and college, I found that that presentation of Jewish history had a different sense of who were good guys and bad guys. There were kings who were good to the Jews but bad to their own people, or bad to the Jews but good to their own people, and the other two combinations. And that was a revelation to realize that just because Louis somebody or other was good to us didn't mean that he was a good king for the other people he ruled over. I remember studying Jewish history, and I remember that the nations that conquered us was Ashur, Bavel, Persia, Griechenland, Rome, Assyria, Babylon, Persia, Greece, and Rome. And that phrase, with those five, I remember repeating that over and over again. I remember singing a lot of songs. I remember seeing the map of the Middle East. And I'm embarrassed to tell you that, I was born in 1947, so I would have seen the maps in the 50s and the early 60s. I did not see a map of what was then the current state of Israel with the chunk in the West Bank cut out until I was in college, because the school was, I don't think they were anti-Zionist, but they just weren't interested in Israel at all. And so the only maps we saw of the Jewish homeland were the ones from 2,000 years ago. They didn't reflect the modern state of Israel at all. And I do remember my last year there, my fourth year, some parents requested that we learn some Hebrew words, and the school agreed. And I still have the little book that we used to learn a few Hebrew words. The final story I'll tell you is that there's a Hanukkah song that I learned that's sort of one of the standard ones. And when my husband and I married, the first time we spent Hanukkah together, we were singing one of the songs, and mine had the line, Soll jeder Basunder basingen dem Wunder. Each one should sing about the wonder. And his was, Zogt al Hanisim loib Gott far die Nisim. Talk about the miracles, thank God for the miracles. And we realized that my version didn't have God in it. It had wonders, which is sort of miracles. And there's even a third version of that song with a line that doesn't refer to any wonders at all. And we realized that even though we knew the same songs, the fact that I had gone to a militantly secular Yiddish school, God was not mentioned at all in 4 years of Jewish education. I picked up the religious part of our civilization when I went to college at Hillel, but in retrospect, I realized that it was, I think it was that the parents were very bitter about the Holocaust, and many of them believed that God couldn't possibly exist given what had happened. Now, my parents were not Holocaust survivors. They had come before. My mother's sister was murdered, and her family were murdered in the Holocaust. But it was a generation that felt very betrayed by God.